Welcome everyone to the Soweto Executive Toastmasters Club special meeting. My name is Rose Nkabinde and I'm tonight's meeting's Sergeant at Arms. We're excited to have you with us tonight, and just going to run through a few ground rules. Please put yourself on mute. To the speakers with smiles, reactions, and comments. And we're going to have a great meeting. I can feel it. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests and fellow heritage enthusiasts, I'm truly honored to kick off our Heritage and Wills Month event. This celebration is not only an opportunity to delve into the rich tapestry of our past, but it's also a chance for us to contemplate our legacy for the future. Heritage is not only about history and traditions, it's about our stories, values, traditions that have been passed down from one generation to the next. It's also a connection between our past, our present, and the future. It's a foundation which will build our identities, communities, and our societies. So during this Heritage and Wills Month event, we have an opportunity to explore and celebrate our heritage in that way that makes up our society and binds us together as a community. Additionally, this month also provides us an opportunity to reflect on the legacy we want to leave behind for our future generations. Writing a will is a profound and responsible act. A lot of us Black people don't have wills, but it is important for us to ensure that our values, our assets, our wishes are preserved and passed on as we intend. It's an act of love. It's an act of love and consideration for those that we love. So tonight we have an expert that's going to provide us with guidance with all the estate planning related things, including preparation, legal aspects, administration. So whether you're beginning to consider a will or you're looking to update an existing one, please pay attention. The event is here to support you on this important journey. So I encourage you to participate actively, and let's embrace our heritage with pride, and let's approach wills and estate planning with the seriousness and thoughtfulness that they deserve. So thank you so much once more for joining us in this celebration of our heritage and responsible planning for our future. And tonight, let's make Heritage and Wills Month event a truly memorable one and an enriching experience for all of us. Now, please help me welcome our club president. She's a businesswoman. She's a founder and director of Women of Destiny South Africa. She's a mentor in public speaking. She's an event coordinator and an amazing MC. She's a phenomenal woman of destiny, I tell you. Ladies and gentlemen, with a warm round of applause, please help me welcome our Soweto Executive Toastmasters Club President, Ms. Naledi Senye. President, you're on mute.
Unmute.
We can hear you now, but we can't see you. Now we can see you.
You can see me, you can hear me.
We can see you, we can hear you. Thank you.
September is Wills Month. Hence, today we are all going to learn that where there is no will, there is no will, there is trouble. Where there is no will, there is bitterness. Where there is no will, there is family feud. There is frustration. There is chaos. There's melodrama. There's rivalry between siblings. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would love everyone today to be here on this session, because we are only having this session once a year, because it falls under the month of September. So we will never ever have this session again. So if you still have someone who wants to join, can you please advise her to log in while we still have time? Maybe we still have 5 more minutes. We can wait for them, because this is a very, very crucial time for all of us to hear about wills and estates. I know most of you don't have wills, including myself. I don't have a will. So today I'm here to learn why it is important for all of us to have wills. So yeah, can I give you just maybe 2 seconds or 2 minutes to send your contact, your family and everyone who wants to listen, who wants to know more about wills and estate. This is a very, very crucial one. So ladies and gentlemen, can I all welcome you to the Soweto Executive Toastmasters tonight to join us. And you feel free to ask questions. This is not a funeral. This is just a bonding session for me and my friends and whoever who wants to learn public speaking. We will also give you an opportunity. My deputy president will also come and explain what Toastmasters is all about and why do we have these clubs. So without any waste of time, I'm going to welcome our deputy vice president to come and explain more about why we are here. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, sorry guys. The technologies, I'm not that. Rose and Annelies are the ones who know these things better. So I will call our deputy president, who is a public relations of Komani Toastmasters, who is a charter member of that professional speaking Toastmasters club. She's a taxation student at UNISA. And outside of that, she runs a very small administration business for individuals. Ladies and gentlemen, can you please help me welcome Annelisiwe Linda Zumana, who will take you through of our club and our Toastmasters, what is going on this club. Thank you. Welcome, Annelisiwe Linda Zumana. Annelisiwe.
Thank you very much, Madam President, for that lovely introduction. Good evening, everyone. Like our dear President said, I am Annelisiwe Linda Zumana, the Deputy President of Soweto Executive Toastmasters Club and the Vice President of Public Relations of Komani Toastmasters Club. So what is Toastmasters? Toastmasters is a non-profit organization that is based in the US, but it operates internationally. It has over 146 clubs around the world. And here in South Africa, all of the clubs, well, in Africa, all of the clubs in Africa that fall under the Toastmasters are under District 74. In Africa, there are 8 countries, if I'm not wrong. There are 8 countries that form part of the Toastmasters, and this one is just a network branch of that organization. So what do we do? What kind of an organization that has clubs? Just like soccer clubs and any other book clubs, we are more focused on the speaking part of a person and the self-development. So every one of us have stories to tell. And it's not always that we get time to jot those ideas or our stories down in the paper, have them as the bestseller. And if you happen to have done that before, you had a Lucker's coin with you unknowingly. But here at Toastmasters, what we do is we are an organization. Through a series of projects, we help you learn disciplines that help you with public speaking and also leadership skills. We have an educational program called Pathways. Now, Pathways, I would liken it to school modules. So you have your history, you have your maths, you have your English, and all the other subjects that you do. But here at Toastmasters, with regards to public speaking, we have what is called Pathways, and Pathways has 11 parts.
Ladies and gentlemen, Naledi was trying to emphasize on the point of this picture that we see. Can you see the picture, Naledi?
Yes, sir, I can.
Perfect. So this picture here, it is our curriculum that we use in Toastmasters to want to help people to become great public speakers. Our main goal is to ensure that everybody becomes a speaker and everybody becomes the best version of themselves. And when we talk about the best version of themselves, we talk about knowing exactly who you are and following that path. In Toastmasters, we call it pathways. If you can look, here we say there are 11 paths that you can follow. Or if you have a lot of energy, like me, you can do all 11 parts of Toastmasters. The first part there is dynamic leadership. That part is going to teach you everything about dynamic leadership. And it's going to unleash the dynamic leader within you. The point here is, it's going to unleash the dynamic leader within you as a speaker. That is what we need to know as a speaker. So what do you speak about when you are a dynamic leader? What do you do when you're a dynamic leader? That is how it works. The second one is effective coaching. Many of us love coaching and we are coaching people. We are busy with coaching and doing all sorts of coaching. But the question is, do we know how to deliver coaching speeches that can really move people and make you a great speaker and coach? That is what you will be learning, how to speak as a coach, especially effectively so. The other one is engaging humor. Can you tell engaging humor? Are you humorous or not? If not, you can learn this part. And in this way said, each part got about 15 speeches that you must deliver, 15. And all of them are increasing in difficulty as you go up the levels. Talking about the levels, if you can look at the 5 core competencies on your left-hand side, we have level 1, it will teach you public speaking. Level 2, it will teach you interpersonal communication, how to become a public speaker, the basics of public speaking. Level 2, interpersonal communications. Level 3, strategic leadership. So each part got all these 5 competencies. Then management, each part will teach you when, let me say, for example, you are a leader in the basis of being an effective coach. So how do you manage that? What is the management systems or strategies that you can follow to ensure that your effective coaching get the best out of it? And then the last one is confidence. How confident will you be at the end of those competencies? So these are the 5 core levels that you will be doing and you will receive as a public speaker. Some of the other ones are innovative plannings, the parts. Another one is leadership development, motivational strategies, persuasive influence. I love the persuasive influence. How do you influence people? How do you get people to say yes to what you are saying? Because it's not easy to get people to say yes to what you are saying. So the path, if you join Toastmasters and get this path, it will help you to do that. Another one is presentation mastery. How do you master presentations? Strategic relationships. How do you position yourself as a strategic person, and especially when it comes to strategic relationships? Team collaborations, for those who are working with teams, how do you get them to collaborate? And then those who are leading through vision, how do you communicate a vision to the point that people will follow your vision? I know Michael, he's here, Michael Kuani, loves visionary leadership. So how do you use this one? This is one of the paths that Michael Kuani have to really do. Visionary communication. How do you communicate so that people can listen and you can sell a vision to them. So all these 11 parts, you only have to choose 2 parts, ladies and gentlemen, only 2, not all of them. You choose 2. For example, you can choose presentation mastery and persuasive influence. These 2 parts, both of them will give you an opportunity to deliver 30 speeches, 30 speeches. And once you can deliver those 30 speeches, now you are in a position of being good to go as a leader in public speaking. After those 2 speeches, there are projects that you have to deliver. And those projects, we call them leadership projects. For example, you heard Naledi saying she is a club leader. She is a president of the club. So she have to do this project of president of the club for at least 12 months consecutively so. And if she wants to do more, she can even go as far as starting another club somewhere else, where she will show further competencies. For example, in my life as a Toastmasters, I have started about 10 clubs, 10 public speaking clubs in different parts of this world. I've started public speaking clubs in South Africa, in Tanzania, in Thailand, Vietnam. That is where I've started some public speaking clubs. I've started clubs in the Eastern Cape, in Gauteng, Sandton. I've done all those things. It's a sign of leadership that you can lead, not just by talking, and also by doing. The third one is to become a club coach. If you can coach a club, that's leadership also. So once you can do all that, or if you can't become a coach, you can become what we call a district officer, where you become a director of public speaking, area director of public speaking. So it's either you become a coach or you become an area director, one of the 2. If you choose coach, you have to do it for 1 year. If you choose area director, you have to do it for 1 year. So all in all, it can take you about 3 years to 4 years to finish the complete program of Toastmasters. And that, once you are done with it, they award you, apart from the certificates that you will get for each of the levels that you are doing. Remember, we said you are going to do 5 of these levels. Apart from these 5 levels, you are going to also receive certificate for each level. That means you will get 10 certificates. And you will also get a certificate for coaching a club. And then when you are done with everything, you get a certificate. We call it the highest accolade of public speaking. It's called a DTM, a Distinguished Toastmaster accolade. And that Distinguished Toastmaster accolade is the one, we call it the PhD of public speaking. You know, remember, most public speakers are public speakers, but they don't have a qualification in public speaking. So you will have not only certificates in public speaking, you will also have a PhD of public speaking. That is what will be bestowed upon you upon completion of this. So it's a personal journey that you will travel with Toastmasters until you unleash your inner desires and you satisfy yourself when it comes to public speaking, where you will be becoming a great speaker, a confident speaker, a very energetic and engageful person at the end of the day. Let me just quickly show you when I talk about a PhD of public speaking. Just give me 1 second. Sure. Unfortunately, I don't know. Where did I put and they were just around here. I think I've misplaced them. But I'll show you before the meeting ends, the PhD of public speaking. So currently I have 6 of them, 6 PhDs of public speaking. And that makes me the only person in Africa and in the Middle East to have those type of qualifications of public speaking in Africa. But you can start your journey and get your first one. That is why we are running these projects. That is why we are running public speaking engagements, public speaking learning, public speaking training, public speaking teaching. All those are done to help you accumulate your credits of public speaking. 2 years, 3 years, 4 years from now, you will be a different animal. You will be a different animal that have a concrete plaque of public speaking that you can show to the world to say, listen to me, I'm not just speaking or tamsaki. I am a public speaker with a plaque. We will be calling you not just Annelisiwe Linda Zumana, but we will be calling you Annelisiwe Linda Zumana DTM. Look, people who have doctorates, we call them PhDs. We just say Annelisiwe Linda Zumana PhD. Now, with public speaking, we say DTM. Annelisiwe Linda Zumana DTM. Rosen Kabinde DTM. Naledi Senye DTM. But we need to work towards that. I always tell people it can take you 4 years. But I have helped about 3 people to achieve that DTM in 2 years so that they can become, because they were good already. So it took them 2 years. And if you get a good mentor, you can do it in 2 years. If you do it by yourself, I know people 20 years later, they have not yet achieved any DTM so far. So ladies and gentlemen, that's the portion that I wanted to clarify. And that is the portion that Annelisiwe really wanted also to clarify. So Annelisiwe, over to you so that you can continue.
I'm so sorry. My apologies for the technology. One of the certificates, it's not necessarily a certificate that Mr. DTM6, Mr. Eric mentioned, or did not mention rather, is you can also, as you progress through your levels, you also get letters that you can submit to your employer as part of your development. It is recognized that it's a development program to help you and also elevate you in your career. And trust me, once you start being a part of Toastmasters Club, when you hear people speak, it's never the same, especially when you also participate. It's never the same. You can even hear the slightest pin falling and it would distract you, because we also have projects where it needs for you to be an active listener, and it really does sharpen you as a person overall when it comes to your development as a speaker and also as a leader. I love that Mr. Eric went through everything, I believe. I came in when he was going to show the plaque. He talked about the officers, the district officers, the mentoring, club coach. There's also mentoring. Yeah, there's the plaque. Where are the other 5? Those are the plaques, Mr. DTM6. Oh my gosh. There's also mentoring now, club coaching, being a coach for clubs, but there's also what I did not hear him mention, that you become also a mentor within the club, or you can become a mentor. They call them Mentors Without Borders, being in a program where you're mentoring people who are part of the Toastmasters family as a whole. For example, I was also part of a program within Toastmasters called Odyssey, where I was mentoring and getting mentored by people from around the world. I got a mentor from the Netherlands. I was mentoring someone in Paris. It was so nice to interact with people from such different cultures, different cities and places, and having to share ideas, because the things that I was mentoring them with, I was also being mentored at the same time because of the cultural differences and having a different way to think about how to engage with your Toastmasters, or just life in general. And yes, that is Toastmasters in a nutshell. Now I will hand over, before my technology dies on me again, I'll hand over the reins to our dear Madam President Naledi Senye. I hand over to you.
Um, can you see me? I think I have a
Yeah, we
challenge.
can see
But
you.
you can see me, you can hear me.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to thank you, Naledi, and you, Coach, for explaining thoroughly to our visitors, because every time we have new people who wants to know more about public speaking and how to go about, registering and being a member of our clubs or to go for our boot camps. So whoever is in this who cannot, I know some people are not comfortable talking in front of others. Some are very shy. But those of you who are my friends, you can call me directly and I will explain to you how to go about it. Because this is a very exciting platform. This is, if many of you, some of you who knows me, that I was never this confident. But was it 2020 or 2021 when we started our 100 days of boot camp, the first one? When was it, Coach? Was it 2021? We are the club of 2020. 2020, ne?
Yeah.
Yeah. This boot camp will help you to be confident in whatever. I thought before I met my coach, I thought I was a public speaker until he gave me an assignment to say, what do you understand by public speaking when you are in front of people? Hey, boy, I think out of 20, I got only one. I was doing everything wrong. From if you were observant enough, when I got into the platform, I did not greet you to say, hey, Dumelang, ladies and gentlemen, how are you? No, you go straight and say something about what is going to happen. You don't just go there and greet people. You will greet after. You come in with something nicer that will catch attention of people. So all these years I have been doing my public speaking very wrong because I thought I knew it all. However, I am grateful for Coach to force. He did not force me to, he just saw the potential in me to say, look, I think you can be a great public speaker. Can I just help you with this 100 days of boot camp? Let me teach you some things that you think you know and you don't know. So ladies and gentlemen, whoever who is here today, who wants to learn more about public speaking, I urge you to come and learn. You will never regret. And today I want to give each and every one of you a platform to ask questions, because this session that we are going to have is a very, very important. I'm not going to answer those questions after the session. Please don't ask me if you did not listen, because I'm not a legal person. I'm also here to listen and to learn. So we have an expert today who's coming to teach us. And I believe that everyone who is here is eager to learn what is going to happen. Without any waste of time, I will call our person whom we invited. She is the director of a company. It's an NPC. An NPC is a non-profit company. Remember, we have an NPC, we have an NPO, which is a non-profit organization. We have an NGO, it's a non-governmental organization. These three organizations, they have different meanings. So I don't have time to explain that. You can go and Google what is the meaning of NPC, NPO, and NGO. So in this regard, we have a director of an NPC, which is a non-profit company. The name of the NPC is WATLA. WATLA simply means Women and the Law. You understand, ladies and gentlemen? I can just tell she's also a former journalist. She is a legislation drafter. and she is a paralegal. All those terms, I don't know them. So if you want to know what is a paralegal, what is a legislative drafter, you can just direct the questions to her. Without any waste of time, I would like to call our presenter, Mrs. Rita Tladi. Can we all welcome her? Mrs. Tladi, the platform is yours.
Wow. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. As you have heard my name, Rita. Sure. I would love to say amen, because it doesn't look like we need to know more about what I'm going to talk about, because I've already learned so much and I'm inspired. So I believe that I may be one of the incumbent, I may be one of your students. I'm really, really inspired because this is one area that I don't manage quite well. So I'm going to learn. So I will get the forms, I'll get the application, I'm sure. Right. Without any waste of time, as you have heard my name and where I come from, I'm a very shy person. So I guess getting into Toastmasters will help me to come out of that box. I am really inspired. Just to jump into what I am here for, it's wills and estate, administration of wills and estate. I haven't done this presentation in a very long time. My mentor does it so well that I am able to dive and run away from doing it. But today, Naledi threw me right into the deep. So bear with me when I stagger. You run with me. Great. Let's take the ride. What is a will? It is very interesting that as life progresses, we get to know a couple of things. And it has never been, sure, please excuse what I'm going to say now. It has never really been something that in our culture and our traditions that we are able to do this, draft wills, because we never knew about wills. We never understood what wills are. And we just dive, we just go. And everything else will be taken care of by the law. Now we have been empowered. We are able to properly arrange our lives before we go out of this world. Now, a will is a written record of what is to happen about your things or of your things, and just to provide what is there, what you have worked hard for, and what you have put together for your children, for your family, even for your friends. What I truly like about a will, it doesn't discriminate. It doesn't say you can only give your bloodline your things. Your close friends, I can give Naledi my spectacles on my will or in my will because I treasure them. And my family cannot fight that because it is my wish. So it is very important that we understand that. And the only time that a will can be executed or a will can work is when one has already left this world, when you have already passed on. Now, what is in for you in the will? The will allows you to protect the things you are leaving to your beneficiaries, to your children, to your families, to your friends, as I alluded to. It allows you to decide who you want to look after your minor children. It also allows you to decide who gets your things when you pass away. The will tells the people who you want to be in charge of your will, to execute your will. And those people rather, we call them executors. Executors are people who will be appointed by you to say, Naledi Senior, you are the one that will be able to tell my family that this beautiful red duke of mine should go to my aunt that I love, whose name is Naledi, you know, so nobody will be able to fight for my duke. It also tells how you would love to be buried. Some people, and again, with all due respect, in our cultures, we never thought that we have the right to be cremated, for an example. It was maybe a taboo to say, you're to be cremated. No, I want to be buried. So you have the right to choose to be cremated. You also have a right to choose that because I feel that my body is still strong and my body parts can be used for benefits for other people. Say somebody is sick and then I have a good heart or my lungs are good, they can then be given to someone, but I have to put it in the will that when I pass on, give my hand, give my eyes, give my whatever part of my body to whoever needs it so that they can have a better quality of life. Right. It is important that when you want to be cremated, when you want your body to be burnt, as would translate it, you indicate it in your will so that there is no feud, there's no confusion, there's no disagreement in the family that Tina Guacumalo, we don't burn people, you know. So when you put it in the will, no one can object to that. If you want to be buried on top of your husband or your wife, there should be no disputes in that. If you want your children to be buried on top of each other or on top of you or next to you, you have to make that decision into your will, because if you don't, the family may not be able to do that. And who can write a will? Anybody can write a will. And when I say anybody, whether you can read or write, you can write a will, because you can sit with someone who knows how to write a will and you just dictate and tell them, this is what I want, this is how I want things to be done, and they write the will for you. Then you will have a will. Excuse me. And at what age should you be able to write a will? At any person who understands and any person who is over 16 years can write a will. A husband can write a will independently. A wife can write a will independently. Husband and wife can draft their will. It's better to say draft in the legal term. We call it drafting. You draft a will, a joint will, if you are married. It doesn't matter what marital regime you are married in, you are able to write or draft a will together. You don't even need a permission of your husband to write a will, your independent will, or the permission of your wife to write your independent will. Right. When we talk about giving our things or our properties to people, in legal terms, we call that an estate. So what is an estate? If you are a single person or a married person and you are married out of community of property, that gives you the right to draft a will jointly. And the estate, you can write it jointly or individually or separately, so to speak. And the estate is what is made up of all your things that are worth money. An estate is something that is valuable. It's valuable to you. It's something that is less than your debts. Your debts are not part of an estate because debts are liabilities. If you are married in community of property, your estate is made up of half share of your the assets that you bring together. So this my shed belongs to me and my husband. My husband has a right to say, this shed, you cannot take it because it belongs to my wife. But if I say, I want this shed to be given to Ntomzotwa, my cousin, in the will, he cannot dispute that because it is my wish. I hope that makes sense. But I cannot give my debts to my cousin because they are not assets, they are liabilities. I'm not sure how much time I have. What must you have in your will? Firstly, your name and surname are very important. And I would love to overemphasize. Please make sure that your name is properly written. Write it right in simple terms. Make sure the spelling of your name is correct. The spelling of your surname is correct. Your ID number is correct. ID numbers are 13 digits. If it's 14 digits, then your ID number is incorrect. Your will may be nullified or will be nullified because that is not your ID, or rather your ID number. Please indicate your full your full names on the will. And it is also important that your beneficiaries as well, their names, surnames, and how you relate to your beneficiaries are properly listed or are properly put in the will. So you also have to indicate what beneficiaries is going to be received by who. If you don't do that in your will, your things are going to be given to people that you may not have wanted, or they will go where you never wanted them to go. If you are the only surviving parent of your children, you can choose the person who will look after your younger children who are under 18, and that person is called a guardian. Now we come to what must you have in your will. You must sign every page and date your will. Put a signature on your will. I am saying this slowly because we have challenges with this. People don't sign their wills, or they sign their wills in a hurry. They leave other pages because you have to sign every page of your will and make sure that your will is signed. If it is not signed, your will not be executed. You must ensure that you sign your will in front of 2 witnesses. The witnesses must not be the beneficiaries, people that you give your assets to, your things to, should not be the witnesses in your will. Your will is private and confidential. We always overemphasize this. My mentor always overemphasized this. That, and my mentor is an attorney, an advocate, and she works for Norton Rose Fulbright. Actually, she's a partner at Norton Rose Fulbright, a law firm. My apologies for not indicating that in time. Right, back in, the 2 witnesses. My My sincere apology. I don't believe this is happening. It's a call from Devon. My sincere apology. The two witnesses must be people who are able to write. We have a challenge that people just grab anyone to come and witness my will, and the person who signs your will may not be able to write. And that creates a problem because your will have a problem in being executed if the signatures are not properly put. Now, if you cannot sign the will and you have to make a mark, e.g. an X, you must make a mark. I would love to overemphasize this. You must make a mark on every page, and the two witnesses must sign on the last page of the will. And this must be done in the presence of a commissioner of oath. The commissioner of oath must certify the will as soon as possible after it has been signed, and he must attach a certificate to the will. If it is not done that, the will be nullified. It will not be executed. What type of things can you leave in your will? It's anything that is worth money. Your things can be made up of anything or any of the following. Please note that this list is an example only, and there are lots of other things that can be put in a will. Money, you can put your clothes, your shoes, your jewelry, your property, that is your house or your business. You can put your appliances, your furniture. You can put your car, your TV license. You can put your life policy in your will. You can put your cattle, your livestock. You can put your farm in the will. Just put it in the will and specify it. Specify where it goes. If you don't, it will not go where you wished or you wish it should go. Who can receive things under your will? You can leave your things to anybody you want to. I would love to pause a little bit there. There are families that fight. If I give my friend my beautiful jewelry, my niece will come and say, but my aunt said this jewelry belongs to me. If I've put it in the will and specified that this jewelry, I'm giving it to Naledi, it has to be given to Naledi because it is my wish and I've put it in writing. So it is very important. It is of paramount importance for you to specify what you give and to whom you give your things. The person that you give your things should not be your witnesses. Witnesses are independent people. If they are witnesses, they will not be able to get the things you leave to them. Very important. Who will manage your will? The person who manages your will and will make sure that everything that you wanted to go to should be taken or should be executed as per your will. And this person is called an executor. Can I repeat? An executor is the person that you appoint in your will. I appoint Nonhlanhla Nkosi, my friend, as an executor of my will. I need to emphasize this. It is also, again, very important that your executor should be someone who can read and write, English in particular, because our wills are written in English, and the executor is the person who will be reading your will in order for that person to be able to execute what you have put in your will. So you must choose a mature person, a very responsible person. You must choose a person who is able to work with money to be your executor. Name the person, put the ID of the person, how you relate with the person. You will always hear me repeating certain things because they are very, very important. Check with the person before you make them the executor. because the executor must be someone who's very responsible. It must be someone who's able to read and write. Let me not move from this one for now. Right, the executor must be someone you trust. The executor earns a fee for managing your estate, and this is paid out of your estate. It is usually 3.5% of the value of your estate plus VAT. So it is important that your executor, you negotiate with them upfront with them what they are going to get themselves into and how much they may charge if they are going to charge. Some executors may not even charge you to execute their will. What is the estate? Oh, sorry, what is a testamentary guardian and a testamentary caregiver? A testamentary guardian is a person that you choose to look after your young child's legal interests or properties. Someone who can consent or refuse consent to the child. I'm reading this one so that I am sure that it sinks quite well. Someone who can consent or refuse consent to the child's marriage, adoption, removal from South Africa, or application for a passport once you have passed away. You can only choose a testamentary guardian for your child or your children if you are the sole guardian. That is, the young child's other parents has already passed on. So this position or this place, you don't assume it unless the children are young and the parent of the younger children have already passed on. What happens if I have a life insurance policy? If you have a life insurance policy, then you must make sure that you have written down the name or the names of the person you want to be your beneficiaries. Ensure that you put the name, your name, surname, and ID, rather the name of the beneficiary, the ID number of the beneficiary, even how you relate with them. I always say to people, the importance of that is that Mapula Mokwena, in one family of the Mokwena, maybe 10 of them. The only difference that will differentiate them is the ID number. That is why it's important that you put your relationship with this Mapule Mokwena, the ID number of Mapule Mokwena. So that person will get the money from the insurance policy when you pass away. This person, you would have indicated where that person takes that money to or what they do with that money. You may even say, Mapule Mokwena, my niece will get 100,000 rands for her education. That money will be executed as for her educational needs only. You can choose more than one person to be your beneficiaries and say in one proportion you would like them to be paid. Oh, sorry, in what proportion you would like them to be paid. E.g., your daughters, you would like them to get, the other one you give them 60% of your estate and the other one you give them 40% of your estate. They cannot fight. It's your choice. It's my choice. Almost done. Who is the master of the High Court? I love this because this is one area that drives us. The master of the High Court is appointed by the government. Part of his function is to make sure that your wishes are written in your will and are kept by the executor. The master will stay in contact with the executor until your things have been given to your beneficiaries. They have been executed to your beneficiaries when you die. The executor must take your will, your ID document, your death certificate to the master's office at the High Court nearest to where you live. The executor will need to complete various forms at the master's office, including an inventory, a next of kin affidavit, and an acceptance of trust as an executor. This process is important. People of the master of the master's office will be able to assist the executor to complete the forms. Most people don't want to go to the master's office or the master of the high court office because they believe they have the right to certain beneficiaries when someone has passed on, maybe a parent or brother or sister. If you don't do that and you execute the benefits of a deceased person without being advised legally, you may find yourself having taken or given away the things that you were not supposed to take, and that is illegal. Now I have written a will. Now what? You keep your will in a safe place. Let your executor know that you have drafted a will, and trusted friends and family know where you keep your will. It's important because if you don't do that, like I said earlier on, your family may not know that you have a will, and they will execute your assets, your estate, without knowing that there is a will. So when the will comes 5 years down the line, the assets are not there. What will be executed if things are not there? And because there is a will, it becomes a legal problem. I guess I have tried to brief it. It's a workshop that we do in 3 hours. I think I tried to do it in 45 minutes or 30 minutes or so. So whatever it is that you may think I haven't touched, if I can be able to address it, I will address it. Thank you. That's it from me.
What a powerful presentation, Rita, and very enlightening. On this platform now, I would love to give people a chance to ask questions, because I believe there are people like me who have several questions or challenges when it comes to the wills and estates. I will make an example of myself. I'm sitting with a problem that my ex-husband died in March, and he did not have a will. So it's because we did not have a relationship anymore, but we have a child together, and he also have another child from a previous relationship. So when this guy passed on, there was nothing that I could do. I did not even want to be part of whatever that was happening in the family. However, the family took advantage. They went to the Master's High Court to say this guy was not married and he did not have children. Unfortunately for them, my son is already on the system of the Master's High Court because I garnished him. I guess we all understand what is the meaning of garnish order. So everything, when they punched on the system, my son's name will appear. Unfortunately for them, when they went there with a death certificate and they punched the ID number, my son's name appeared. So they asked them, who is this one? And the person who went there said, no, I don't know this person, meaning they don't know my son. So that's how I learned that these people are trying to, to do things the wrong way. And immediately the Master's High Court alerted me to say, come with the birth certificate, because my child, before he was still a minor before his birthday this year. So I went there with the birth certificate to say, and I also revealed that there are other children except my child. So the only thing that that all the children were supposed to, I mean, by the family or somebody who was appointed in the family of their father. They were supposed to call maybe the children or the mothers. I don't know how it's done, but I think it was done wrong. Now, the firstborn child, who is my son's elder brother, I advised him to go to the Master's High Court to close the estate. I don't know if I was right or wrong, because now everybody was playing around the estate, because now there is a house that this guy left. He was staying alone. So now all of a sudden, everybody now wants they want to sell the house. I also advised my stepson to have a lawyer who can administer the deceased estate, including every cent and whatever assets that he has. So I'm not sure if I am on the right track, or maybe there's something that I did wrong on that one. How do I help them going forward? Because this person did not have a will. So maybe you can advise. There are people maybe on the room who also needs to know what happens when somebody dies without a will. Thank you.
Okay. Sorry. Okay, when you die without a will, you have died intestate, which means your assets will be executed according to the Interstate Succession Act. So it is imperative that when someone passes on, you report the estate either at the master's office near you or at the magistrate court. The courts will assist you to administer the assets of the deceased, or call it deceased assets. When there is no will, it doesn't mean that the deceased estate cannot be executed. It should be executed because there is an act that empowers the family to execute the will. So the act is very clear. It has clear guidelines as to how to execute the will. They look at the deceased, whether the deceased was married or not, whether the deceased was married in community of property or out of community of property, whether the deceased was married customarily or antenuptial. They will look at that. But it is imperative that the first step that you do, you go to either of the courts, be it magistrate court or master of the High Court. Reason being, when you go to the magistrate court, it may mean that the assets of the deceased is less than 250K. Therefore, you will be given, or you will be presented with the letter of authority. If it is higher than 250K, then you will need to acquire letter of executorship. The difference is in the asset, the amount of the asset, and the execution of the deceased estate, if there is no will. So the attorney will assist you if the estate is higher than 250,000 rand. The attorney will assist you to execute the deceased estate and take you through that whole process to the master of the High Court up to the end. If it is a letter of authority, you will still need legal assistance to be guided how to execute the estate. The letter of authority, I would love to overemphasize this, friends. Letter of authority or letter of executorship does not give you an immediate right to be given, to be the beneficiary of the assets of the deceased person. It just gives you the right to access the assets of the deceased person to be able to be executed in the right way. I don't know if I answered your question, Naledi.
Yeah, thank you so much, also, Rita. I fully understand, and it makes sense because most of the things that you just mentioned, I was already I already advised the children to do. They already got they went to the masters and they were advised to get a lawyer because the estate is more than 250. So I don't know how. I think it's gonna be a very long process. It can take maybe more than a year or more than 5 years. I don't know. But I just wanted things to be done properly, the right way. So I would love to give our friends who are here today, because I know there are people who are sitting with questions. Can Rose and Annelise helped me to identify people who have raised hands for questions, because I might not see them from my side. Annelise and Rose, can you help me to identify those people who raised hands to ask questions?
Annelise's hand is up already for long time.
Annelise, okay, Nelly. Okay, Nelly, can you give also Rita your question?
Yes. Thank you for the presentation, Rita. It was really helpful. It opened up a lot of things. I think I have two questions. The first one being, you said in a marriage, whether in community or out of community, people can still have separate wills. What happens
Yes.
now in an instant whereby we agreed on a joint will, but say the husband or the wife has shady things and they have a separate will outside of the joint will? Which one precedes the other?
The last will takes precedence. The
The
last will takes precedence. If we draft a will together in June 2019, and then I then decide, things are not going well, I want to draft my own will in 2021, I have the right to draft will. Then it nullifies the joint will. Does it make sense? Akiri, remember, you have the right. It is only fair to tell the other that this joint will of ours, it's not working. But because you are an individual who has rights, right? So you are able to draft your own will, your own personal will. Again, you have the right to draft wills individually. Then you draft a will jointly. But the thing is, let's assume you are separated. You are not divorced, but you are separated. Neither of the spouses know what happens in anyone's life, isn't it?
Yes.
So you may not know what he acquires outside of the separation, and that may not even be part of the joint will. Do you get what I'm saying?
I do get what you're saying.
Yeah, so it's very imperative that we keep checking on these things. I hope I'm answering it correctly, but that's how I know it is. Remember, as an individual, you have the right to draft your own will.
Yes.
At any time. You can draft a will this week, next week you decide, there's something I want to change or add on the will. You just go and rewrite a will or do an addendum and add on, and you have a will, you are sorted. The last will takes precedence. That's how far I know.
Okay.
If I'm wrong, then you'll have to verify it, but that's how I know.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll ask my last question, my second one, at the end. For now, I'll give Boitumelo has a hand up. Boitumelo, you can ask your question.
Naledi, sorry, before Boitumelo, my apologies.
Thank you.
Boitumelo. Okay.
Oh, yes.
Okay, Nelly,
Thank you very much for your presentation.
okay.
Am I audible?
You're
You
older.
are?
Your internet is very bad. Can you please fix your internet while Rita shares a small information for now? Like change room or something.
Okay, all right. Let me do something.
Yes.
Am I still audible? Oh,
Quickly ask
You
your
are
question. Quickly ask your question.
I think you are for me.
okay. Okay, all right. Yes, you've opened a can of worms. You have opened a can of worms. I just want to check with you, when in a case where there's no will, it was just a thought in someone's mind that, should I happen to die, this is what I wish to leave my house with, my with a nanny.
Bitumelo, sorry, ma'am. You are not
And
audible.
then it happens that you die before you write your will. Then after your death, am I not audible?
Keep on talking. Keep
Am
on
I
talking.
audible?
You are now?
Now you are, but your network is very bad. You keep on breaking.
Can you hear me? Okay, can you guys hear me? Okay, all right. What I want to check is that there's no will. Someone has passed away without a will, and her house, without the knowledge of the children. And then when after passing, the younger sister decides that she will give the house to that particular person without even having a meeting with other siblings. That was not the right decision, and there's no will. What happens then? There's no will, and that issue actually becomes it brings sibling fights and rivalry. So I want to check what can we do as siblings to ensure that I mean, there's no will, it's not legal, there's no legal document to give that question. I also have a second question to that effect.
Rita, can I clarify for her, if I may? Okay. I think
Sure.
what she's saying is, what happens in an instance where there is no will and the person passes away, and a family member within the immediate family now gives away with the things, the assets, like sells the house without the consent or consulting other family members. What is the remedy for such things? In the case also where it was not sent to the High Court to declare this person that they have passed on, so that the estate can be taken over by the state and be executed according to the act. What happens in those instances whereby things are just taken, one person decides, you know what, I'll do this and maybe keep the money and everything? I think that's where it's alluding to what she was asking. What are the remedies for such things?
Firstly, we check if that person is married. If the person is not married, does that person have parents? If that person has parents and he's not married or she's not married, and that person does not have children, the estate of that person goes to the parents. and the siblings. If the person has children, the first people to be considered for the assets is the children, when the person is not married. Does it make sense?
But
If
now,
I'm not married
Mhm.
and I pass on, I have 2 children,
Yeah.
right? My children are my immediate beneficiaries.
Mhm.
Oh, yes.
I have 2 kids and my mother and my father. My benefits go to my 2 children, to my parents, right? Does it make sense?
Yes.
It does. Okay.
Your second question, Boytoma,
Okay.
you can quickly chime in.
Okay. Okay. My second question relates to, yes, to the same issue where the deceased is your parent, your mother. Let me just put it clear. And then the younger sister, there's no will. And then the younger sister decides that she wants to be an executor, yes, of the family. Then she asks, from siblings that please can you write affidavit so that I can be an executor of the family. She gets a letter of authority which does not even stipulate the names of other siblings. Then she acquires all the, later after 2 years, she comes and this is how she used without even that situation where there's no transparency.
I'm not sure if I got the question properly. I don't know if she would love to make a call maybe with us, or maybe if you can just visit either the magistrate court or the master of the high court to be able to assist you, because I'm not sure if I understood the question and I don't want to mislead you with information that I don't have accuracy in.
All right.
Mosima, apologies, has also a question. Boitumelo, you can drop your hand.
Okay.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Rita, for the full information in terms of the will. I've got a question. I've lost my father 28 years ago, and I just recently lost my mom in June, and there was no will. So I already approached the masters in terms of the estate, and they explained the whole procedure that if the estate is over 250,000, we should get a lawyer. My situation here, my challenge is I'm the last one at home. I've got 2 sisters and 1 brother who wants to sell the house, and myself and my other brother, the number 7, I'm number 8. We say no to the house, to selling the house. So if it comes to that point of them saying we are selling the house because they haven't given me their whole information, because I need to update that, the masters, because I already, I need to get the letter of authority and also approach my attorney. We already discussed that. So now, my 2 sisters and my big brother, what if they go ahead with the sale? Can we oppose it? Can we object it? Should it go to court? Because it's myself and my other brother. We don't want to sell the house. And they are married. They are married. They've got their own families. We are not married.
Okay. Remember, you are the children of the same crawl.
Yes.
Therefore, you have equal right. Therefore, you must speak in one language. If you don't all agree and the other one makes a decision against the other without the knowledge of the other, is wrong. Then you can take that to the Master of the High Court and indicate that now that you know that there is an intention to sell the house without your consent, the first thing to do is, because you have an attorney, let your attorney take charge of that or assist you with that. Otherwise, go to the Master of the High Court and indicate that this is the situation. Chances are the Master of the High Court may call all of you to his office and explain the process and explain the status quo and explain the legalities of what they are doing and the danger of what they're doing, for lack of better word.
Okay, all right. Okay, well
Does it make
understood. Yes, it does make sense. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Any other hand?
Mr. Eric, Mr. DTM has a hand. You can
Yes.
ask your question.
Now I have a question. Look, our family is very big. We are about 18 children. So it's a huge family. But I'm the last born of the boys. And then I have a sister who comes to be the last born sister. So I'm the second last. But now here's the problem. I'm in Pretoria. Now my sisters are back home. So when my father was still alive and my mother, they used to say, no, this house belongs to the last boy of this house. That is me. So everything, according to them, they did not write it down. They said it with their own mouth. And then everybody got married and the house remained alone because I'm in Pretoria. And then people get divorced, they go back home. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. Home is home. And then they start building the property without your knowledge. You just hear one day to say, hey, that house is huge, massive. It's like, what? I don't know about it. And then the other sisters start saying, no, but that is your house. How are they building on your property? Because it was given to you and we are witnesses to that. And believe me, that was before 1994. So now the question is, how do you solve such a problem? If one person builds a huge house on land or property that you were given to, and other family members are not happy, and they know who's the rightful owner of that property. Yeah, something like that.
Askis. It's a pity. Correct. What is important is to look at what the act, what the legislation, the law says at a certain point in time. When something happens, it is looked into according to the current law, right? So 1, 2, when the parents gave you the property or the land, whatever the case may be, and they did not do it in writing, it creates a problem. If it was not in writing, but there were witnesses that can come forth and say, we witnessed to such a thing, then it may be considered. So in law, the challenge is, that's me. The challenge is legislations, laws change all the time. The second thing is when decisions are made and they are not in writing, they are as good as not existing. So you may have been given the land or the inheritance, but it was not written. There are no witnesses that can come forth and say, right, we know we were there, you know, therefore they are his and stand, and confirm that and attest to that. I don't know if I'm answering your question. So the person that has built in your home, who is your sibling, has improved your inheritance. So you have part of a share of that inheritance. So yeah, the rooms that I've built and the extension and all that, it is lost, maybe. Because especially if we did not consent. Does it make sense?
It does make sense. It does make sense. But how do you solve it amicably to the point that there's no war?
It's not easy to, well, let me rephrase this. It can be resolved. The best way to resolve it is to go to court, depending on what is it that you are disputing. What is your contention? If you can sit down and talk and agree on certain decisions, for lack of better way, then you have to go to court because you don't agree. Then the court will help you to agree. Or the court will make a decision on your behalf. Are you happy with that, Ntatekeli?
Yeah, I think I'm happy, but the last question that I might ask before, because our time is now a little bit up. Our last question that I want to ask is, in actually, what boggles my mind is how do I approach it? Because it's a family house already. I know I have weaknesses, and I know that it belongs to me, and and they are living peacefully in the house. It's not like they're not living peacefully in the house, and the kids are growing. They become adults. Those kids, they end up believing it's their house. Something like my mother. I even heard one of the sons say he wants to double story the house. So now, how do you disturb the peace? That's another thing. And the worst part, I'm in Pretoria. I don't even have any prospect of going back to stay back home. So it confuses. But I think your advice is good. But just that small hurdle, so that they must know, even if they can stay there for a lifetime, this property belongs to Eric.
Papa, prove it. Prove it to Eric Kaila. Then we are talking. So, like I say, have witnesses, have it in writing. Otherwise, it's a property of the parents, isn't it? So each one of you will have a share of inheritance of that property or the asset by law. Unless it is proven beyond reasonable doubt that the whole estate Yabatswadi was given to you, or that particular asset was given to you. It has to be proven.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome back.
Those are the only hands that were up. I don't see. Oh, Rose. Rose, yes, Rose. Quick and short.
Thanks, Deputy President. And thanks, Metladi, for the very empowering presentation. I'd like to bring the administration part, because I think also it comes up in the questions that are being asked. For instance, if I leave my property to my son, the costs that are involved there, because I know the presentation had a limitation of time, perhaps you didn't get to that, but I believe that was the theme.
you know, how expensive is death? That is the you know, the way I would put it in short. How expensive is death? Thank you.
Is that a question? How expensive is that?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, what are the costs that would be involved? For instance, Prof here was asking about the property. Say he wins the case, that will attract the property transfer fees, because that property since 1994 before has not been saying Kia Erikaila. And for that to happen, there's a cost involved. There's taxes involved. There is you've mentioned the executor fee, which can be up to 3.5%. If there's a transfer also, you have to pay the rates and taxes if they are in arrears. I'm talking about the cost of death. I think I've heard somewhere they were saying death is expensive. Hence, I'm saying, how expensive is death? I hope my question is clearer now. Thank you.
Death is expensive, as in expensive. It just depends on how the value of that death is, and in terms of the inheritance and the assets, from the little that I know. However, it is imperative that we know the assets that are there, and we know the value of the assets that are there, and we know the beneficiaries for those assets. Because if we don't, then it becomes a problem. And we need to ensure that the benefits go to the right beneficiaries in a proper way. And there are attorneys there to assist you to do that. They are experts in those areas. Most of the High Court is there to guide and give direction and advice. You know, so some execution of late estate may not even need attorneys because of the value of the asset. You just go to the Master of High Court or Magistrate Court, as I alluded to earlier on, and then you present your case, and then they guide you. Then you know what to do. It's just that, and please allow me to say this with all due respect, it's the challenge is we lack knowledge. So the sooner we know these things, the better, because we'll be able to make amicable and right decisions. And I'm not sure if even if we know much, we will not have these challenges, because even people that we think know, they still fight about these things, sadly. But trust me, property, let me just say inheritance in general has a problem. Great. I want to, and I listen 2 seconds. I want you to share something quickly. That what Ntate Kaile said reminded me to go back to that. Please be careful not to register Nakilas born. And then just because Kilas born, I assume that the assets, the deceased estate of my parents are mine. As much as Kele Mujalifa at my home. By law, I'm not the only Mujalifa. So if I decide I'm not married and I have children and they have all left, in the case maybe I decided to build my parents' house and then make it beautiful because all them Gutus have left and I'm left alone, and I believe and Libona they believe it's okay. They're happy that I make the home beautiful, but it's not my house. It's my home. I need to understand that this house still belongs to my parents and it is still my siblings' inheritance, unless in writing they give it to me. They give me the right to own the house, not to inherit the house, or to inherit the house and they do it legally in writing. The unfortunate part, ladies and gentlemen, in law, anything that you do it in writing, then it's legitimate and legal. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ms. Rita.
Yes.
Madam President, that's all the questions. I hand over to you.
Yeah, this this topic needs a weekend session. We can't do it over over an hour or so, because there's just too many things to address and too many questions as well. I know people, whoever that is sitting in this meeting has a question, and maybe there's somebody who they wants to ask on their behalf. I will just give you my last question. It's something that it's not, I don't know these people. It's something that I saw on TV. There's this TV channel called Moja Love, where we always see people fighting over the houses and siblings rivalry and so forth and so forth. So in a case where somebody, you spoke about being educated on these things. So lack of knowledge sometimes it brings, especially when the siblings, it mostly happen when there's too many siblings, like Erikiso, or when so most of them are women in that house. So in this one that I saw on TV, there's only one boy, is a man. So all the ladies are married and they are not staying. So the guy stayed at the parents' house. So this guy, he got somebody that he paid lobola for, but I think it was just half lobola. They did not register the marriage, and they didn't finish the lobola celebration, whatever. So it happened that this guy fell ill. He had a stroke, where this woman was now a nurse. He was bathing him, was feeding, the stage there where now this guy could not even stand up. He was bedridden. So this lady took care of the man until he passed on. So after the funeral, now all the Ngutus, those women, they came to the house to say, you were not married to our brother. I mean, my brother only paid 1,000 for you for lobola. So basically, you are not his wife. So you must vacate the house. It was a very painful experience. I wished I knew that woman. Maybe I could have, maybe showed her where to go, or to the masters, or, to people like you also to assist her. So it's very important for us to also teach our families these things. When we might not be an expert in legal, but it's important to always, give them information of what will transpire, or maybe if this man die or this woman dies, what happens after. So if in this regard, they say she's not married, they only pay 1,000 for her lobola, now she must vacate the house. What should happen in this regard?
Is that a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Look, our law now says if there's lobola paid for you, and there has been some cultural or traditional acknowledgement of me being part of this family, when we pay lobola, we have that witness paper that the witnesses, people who receive lobola and give lobola, right, and a witness to that. And perhaps there is a point where 3 years down the line you haven't completed that, and you decide that you staying together and all that, and the family agrees. Some families are not that traditional that there will be that amogela magadi, whatever you call it, process. but they acknowledge you as makoti, and there are witnesses that can say, no, we know her to be our makoti because we have paid lobola, and there are signatures here. And I take that paper to Home Affairs. The man died, and I take that paper to Home Affairs and show that there are witnesses. The witnesses are called and they attest to that. They give you a death certificate as long as that process has been done, and Home Affairs is happy with the process the way it is, because the process of your marriage to be legalized has unfolded and has been satisfied. Then they will give you a marriage certificate and give you a death certificate at the same time. Then you are a married woman or married man, and you are a widow or widower. Then you have the right to execute the deceased estate of your spouse.
Yeah,
I'm repeating,
no.
as long as those formalities have been followed, because the law
Yes.
allows it. What we call customary marriage. The customary marriage can be legalized. Let me leave you with this. A lady called me not this year, last year, early mid last year, very young woman. I haven't met her, but I could tell that she's young from her age and her voice. She says to me, I've been referred to you. My husband passed on. We did all the formalities, mahadi and all that. And I have 2 children with him. He just passed on. My mother-in-law agrees to the process for me to get the death certificate and all that. But the auntie is refusing. And the brother of I think it's the brother of the deceased man is also refusing that. No, there's no marriage certificate. And I said to her, if you can put all that together and prove that mahadi has been paid, lobola has been paid, there has been that formality done, and if you can get one of the family members, your side and his side, to attest to that formality, take all that, go to Home Affairs, present your case. They will give you a marriage certificate and a death certificate. She did exactly that. Same day, same service. She came with a death certificate and a marriage certificate, and she said, how? I didn't know this. Now she's supposed to go to the employment of the deceased husband to get his things. They want those things. And apparently, if I remember well, the brother had already gone ahead to the employer to say, these people are not married, so you're not going to give his pension funds and the beneficiaries that are due to him in terms of his death. And the employer said, okay, we'll wait for it. She went to the employer. She qualified in terms of what she had. She's a wife. She's a widow. She's got children with this guy. They have a house. Their house, yes, is in the husband's name, the deceased husband's name. But she's got a marriage certificate in community of property. She's got the death certificate. She's sorted.
Yeah, no. I think we are just running out of time, but I believe that we'll also make a session one day. I'm not sure when, because this is a very broad topic. It needs so much time, and we have less time because we only have 4 minutes to finish this. But anyway, I would love to thank you, Sis Rita. This was a very informative session. I hope everybody who is attending tonight, they, and I saw one comment in the chat box say, is the Mamngani, the concubine, can she be included in the will? So I can't name the person, but she's just interested from this house to say,
yes, if the man includes the Mamngani in the will, and say, Mam Ngane, I have a child with, so I want Mam Ngane to get my Mercedes Benz. It's his wish. It has to be respected. She will get the Mercedes Benz. It's in the way.
Just like that.
Just like that.
Yeah. No, I think the person.
You can, I said, go willing, you can actually disregard your entire family and give Nkunu Kai Kai a will.
Yeah.
Can I
Yeah.
quickly with you?
It supersedes everything and everyone.
Yes, it is imperative that you tell somebody that you have a will. We did a workshop, Naledi and team, Koval, I think 5 years ago. This lady did a will with us the previous year. The following year, we come for the workshop. The leader, the story is a little bit long. The leader of the community stands up and says, I need to share this. This woman drafted a will with you last year. She passed on early this year. The brother of this lady did everything possible for the funeral to be grand. Cool. And then the friend that have been given a will to hold comes to the leader and say, I see, man, things are happening there, but I don't hear them talk about the will. Then the leader goes to the family with the lady and say, oh, you are preparing for the funeral, but there's a will. Can you read the will before the funeral? The brother said, no, we've done everything. Therefore, I have to continue, and said, no, it doesn't work that way. We read the will. They read the will. The one thing that was in the will, the lady indicated how she wants to be buried, when she wants to be buried, where she wants to be buried. And that was not considered because they did not know, because they did not have the will. So everything had to be put on hold for the will to be executed. So it's imperative that you tell someone that, please tell my family, here is my will, execute the will, or read the will before my burial. Because if you want to be cremated, you won't be cremated. We don't cremate. Thank you, Naledi.
Oh, yo. I don't know. I thought I had some of these informations in the past when we are having our conversations, but it looks like today there's just so much that I don't understand, that I didn't know. That's why I'm saying we'll have to get another slot in one of this month, maybe December, because next month it's breast cancer month. We are going to get somebody who is a cancer survivor who will come and do the presentation. And then in November, I'll also identify who can come. November, in my calendar, it's International Diabetes Month. It's on the 14th of November. So maybe we can slot you in December, because there's just so much. And coach, please, can you send me this recording? Please. Because you always promise and you don't. There's just a whole lot of people who needs this recording, because most of the people, it's a long weekend today. People went to weddings and whatever, but they really wanted to hear this one. So I don't know, maybe I will send you an e-wallet of 100 Rand to buy this recording, because you always promise to send me the recording. This one, I really, Rose and Annelise, can you please be my witnesses? Can coach send us this recording? I'm pleading with you, coach, please. This was very informative. And I know I had just more than 10 people who wanted the recording to say, I really wanted to listen to this, but I'm at a funeral, I'm at a tombstone. So yes, please. Can you just do that, my dear coach? I'll be happy. Next month, we are meeting again. I will send you the information or the date and time which day we are going to to meet again, because we meet only once a month. And going forward, the reason why I want this club to, the reason why I resuscitated it, I wanted things like this to be on the program, because we have our own programs as Toastmasters. But I wanted this to be interesting, so that when you invite somebody, she or he must be looking forward to attend your meeting the next. I'm doing it in a very different way, apart from other clubs. So I think this one was just so informative, and you guys will be next time or next month, you'll be looking forward to attend this once a month event. So I would love to thank our presenter, Rita. This was very good, very powerful, very eye-opening. I can't elaborate more on how much I've learned tonight. And I think all the people in this room, they have learned a lot. So thank you very much to take your time, of your family time, because now we have to close the meeting. And I will go straight to our Vice President to do the vote of thanks before we close the meeting. Thank you so much. Annalise, can you just do the vote of thanks? We are running a bit late. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam President. Ms. Rita, thank you very much. I know Madam President has already said so. Thank you for this session, and thank you to everyone who participated tonight and has also come to listen to our topic that we had. Promise next time, hopefully we'll have some speeches in relation to our club, because remember, we do have projects, we do have to practice our public speaking skills and everything. But we do appreciate and honor you, Ms. Rita, for joining us and educating us about the roles. I'm looking forward to the next date, because each and every situation is pretty unique. So thank you, everyone, and back to you, Madam President, for your closing remarks. Thank you. Ms. Naledi, you are on mute.
Thank you and bye-bye.
Naledi, where are you?
Oh, okay, all right. Sorry, guys. I'm here. You know, it's a long holiday. People are calling on the side, but anyway, let us just wrap this meeting. I will now call our SAA. For those who doesn't understand the term that we are using in Toastmasters, it's not South African Airways. It is called what? Rose, Sergeant at Arms. She was our SAA today. That's what we call her. So she will be the one who will be wrapping our meeting now. She's a businesswoman. She's a market researcher. She's a financial coach. She's also the CEO of her own company. She speaks to various institutions and organizations, and in education, also universities. She's the public relations officer of the Soweto Executive Toastmasters, this very club that we are in. Ladies and gentlemen, can you help me to welcome the what do you call this? I always hear people saying, you'll help me, those who knows English, Coach and Rose and Elisiwa. But what do they say about what comes in small packages?
Oh, dynamite.
Dynamite. Yeah. She's a dynamite. So that's where this term comes from. She is so tiny, small, but the way, you know, I just trust these two dynamites of mine. You can see they are just little batunyana, but they have so much, you know, to teach, and they always teach us so much. Rose and Annalise, thank you so much, my girls. I know I can depend you every month on this meeting. So on this one, I'll call the last dynamite who will come and wrap the meeting for us. And I also want to say thank you for everyone who is in the house tonight. I would love to see you next month when we'll be doing diabetes, and yeah. So I will always send you the messages to remind you when we are going to host. So as from me, the president of the Soweto Toastmasters, it's adios from me. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Until we meet, adios. Rose, can you come in?
Thank you, Madam President, and thank you for such a lovely event that we had tonight. It is with deepest gratitude that I am honored to close the event. And I'd like to say, just quickly, I cannot be your witness, Madam President, because I'm a beneficiary in your will, I know. So
yeah.
we've learned such a lot. And I'm also going to support what the Madam President was saying. There's something that Dumelo said earlier, that this topic has opened a can of worms. There's such a lot that can still be covered. We just didn't have the leisure of time. So we would be honored to have you back, Tladi. And I'd also want to express the gratitude that everyone has shown. There's quite a lot. It's a very close to our heart topic that we talked about today that affects our families. I've heard somewhere they saying, what is this? Grief is very closely related to greed. When people grieve, they tend to be greedy because it's a sense of loss. I have lost someone that I love. Now I want something to hang on to that is related to that person. It is part of human nature. So there's laws and things that Tladi was saying we need to be informed about, because they are there to protect us. And if we don't learn from them and protect our children, because those are the people that suffer the most, then it would mean, as kaSizulu bare, uzenzile akakhalelwa. You don't cry for a person who has done themselves an injustice. So let me not extend too much. It has been such a valuable experience once more, which we appreciate very much. And we'd like to thank everyone who has participated, taken the time to be with us. Your presence and active participation have made today's gathering a very memorable one. I second you, Madam President, even though I can't be a witness, that we do need to share the recording. I think a lot of people will benefit from this one. With that, I officially declare this meeting adjourned. Thank you all for being part of this wonderful Toastmasters experience, and have a lovely weekend, Enkulu. And we look forward to seeing you at our next meeting. Adios.